Hello there. This is Pendle, and this little gray horse here, this is Allie. Allie's a 6-year-old Canadian sport horse cross. Her sire was a Canadian sport horse, and her dam was a quarter horse Morgan cross. So she's 6 years old. She has a pretty good top line. She is ever so slightly downhill a bit. But we've really been working on her top line, especially this year, and so that's coming along quite nicely. This is my first time making a video, so I'm sorry if I make a lot of noises or pause in the middle of a sentence because I don't know what I'm saying. Anyway, so I will show you how I fit a ghost saddle. So this is what I like to do to fit my treeless saddle. You know, one biggest concern about treeless saddles is the spinal clearance. So regularly, I mean, with the treed saddle, you already have it built in because you have the gullet, the trees, and the panels. The good thing about the treeless saddles are, especially with the ghost saddles, is you can move the panels because they are Velcro. So to figure out how far apart my panels should be, this is what I like to do. I will take a curry comb and gently start going back and forth along their backs. And you'll start seeing a bit of a divot here, or a bit of a line where the muscles and the nerves are, that one along the horse's back. Okay, so I like to start currying along their backs here, and I will feel that I'll have a slight little change in texture as I run my hand down the side of their spine and their spinal processes. And this is where I like to make a mark. So I have a Sharpie here, and I'll just make a line where you get a bit of a dip where you know that their muscles are. So I'll make a line here, and then I'll do the same thing on the other side. Okay, so here you see I have a line I made, and this is where the back muscles are and where her nerves are. So this, on this horse, is where you don't want the panels to be. So I'll show you on the other side. And I have another line here. Okay. So what I like to do next is I will take my hand along the back and see how far apart these lines are. So they are, I mean, on her, they're roughly, they're roughly 4 fingers width. I have these lines, I have this line slightly too far down. So for her, I like my panels to be 4 fingers width. Yes, this line is slightly too low. Sorry about that. But when you do this, you'll feel the difference in texture as you run your fingertips along the side of their spine. So, on my saddle, On my saddle, I'll show you how I place my panels and how far apart they are. So this is my Ghost. This is a Ghost Puro. The black is oiled nubuck and the blue is Micropel synthetic. So the underneath of my saddle, you can see I have my panels here, which are movable and removable, but I shouldn't say removable, but because you shouldn't ever ride your Ghost saddle without panels, Ghost panels. So when you sit on your saddle, these panels will spread a bit. So for me, I know I want Allie to have 4 fingers width between her panels, but because these panels move when the weight of the rider is in the saddle, you need to make these panels slightly narrower. So I have about 3 fingers width all the way down. See? So when I get on, I'll have 4 fingers width because I'll spread the panels a bit. Because you can see these panels will move. I don't know whether you can. Anyway, they move. You probably can't see that. They move. So I'll stick this on. So when I place my saddle, I like to put it above their withers and above their shoulders and put a bit of pressure onto the pommel and slide it back until I can't slide it back anymore. This, I find, is where the horse's sweet spot is for the saddle. So for Allie, her sweet spot is here. You can feel the edge of her shoulder blade is actually here, but because these panels and the Ghost base are flexible, they don't impede her shoulder movement because her shoulder blade is able to rotate freely underneath the panels. Okay, so you want to feel even pressure going underneath your panel. I have a slight weight into the saddle with my hand just to keep it balanced and stable as I do this. Because Allie has a good top line, I have a slight dip here, right where her shoulder blade ends. This is natural and this is okay. At least in her case, this is okay because the saddle will conform to her shape, which includes her shape as she's moving as well. So I feel even pressure going all the way along to the back of the saddle to the cantle. So the other thing you want to make sure is that your saddle is balanced. So you want to look at the seat here. Not necessarily the top of the pommel and the top of the cantle. This will change depending on whether you have a model which has a higher cantle or a lower cantle. So you want to look at the seat to make sure that you're balanced. And at the moment, this seat is balanced. It is flat. With this horse, because she's only 6 and of the Canadian winters, she loses a bit of her top line. So in the spring, for about 2 weeks, I tend to have to shim the front. But shimming should be a last resort. If you need to balance up your saddle a bit because the horse is uphill or downhill a bit, you will want to move the panels. So if the horse is uphill, then you want to widen the panels. If the horse is downhill, you'll want to narrow the panels. This should be done before you try and shim, because shims can add extra pressure points, which is not what you want. And shimming the panels is definitely preferable over shimming the saddle pad because you want the shims as far away from the horse's back as possible. Okay, so I'll take you for a closer look. So on this horse, you can see how the panel angle follows the contours of her shoulder here. You have a bit of height just where her top of her withers are, and where the pommel is, you have definite clearance. As you go along, you can see that the panels are smoothly touching the horse here. This is the little gapping I was talking about. If you can see it, I don't know, but there's a slight gap just where her withers mold into her back, or her shoulder blades actually. But as I said, this will be okay because the saddle will conform to the horse. So this is what the back view looks like. So you can see plenty of spinal clearance. If the camera will focus. Anyway, plenty of spinal clearance. And as you can see, when I put weight into the cantle, the panels do spread. And the panels will spread even more when a rider's weight is in the saddle. So at the moment I have a snug, at the moment I have a very snug 4 fingers or a very wide 3 fingers. So when the rider's weight is down, I'll have a very nice 4 fingers, which is the width that I want for these panels on this horse. So I will show you what this saddle looks like all gussed up. You want to make sure that the saddle pad is up into the gullet. This prevents pressure onto the spine. Well, it helps to prevent pressure onto the spine. So as I said, pull the saddle with a bit of weight in the pommel backwards until it doesn't want to move. I mean, you aren't forcing it backwards, you're just letting the saddle glide down the horse's back. So for this horse, I like to use a Logic County shoulder relief girth. She has a bit of a forward girth groove, and this helps to keep the saddle out of her shoulders and stable. Okay. So, as you can see, all saddled up. The saddle at the seat is nice and flat. This means that the saddle is balanced. I'll give you a closer look again, Pommel. Okay, the front of the panel is still in line with the contours of her shoulder. And now I have even pressure all the way down because the saddle has conformed. Oopsie. Because the saddle has conformed to her back. So I have even pressure all the way down the panels. So this is the back view. So here I still have about that wide 3-finger, snug 4-finger fit, all cinched up. That is still fine. Normally I tie these little saddle pad ties. Just for the sake of this video, I'm not. Okay. So I hope that helps to answer some of your questions. If you have any additional questions or want me to cover another specific topic, please let me know and I will try and see what I can do. Anyway, thank you.